this. Good evening. So I'm excited. We're doing a Christmas series of tips from the top, and I'm just grateful. I'm tired, but I am grateful, and so I am excited because it's Tavia, right?
Tavia, yep.
Tavia, girl, you dang right. You just say no, girl. My name is Tavia. Tavia, yes, Tavia. It's okay. It's gonna take a while to stick, so just correct me, Tavia. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear your story. I've never heard it before, and so I'm excited to get all the juice. So start off. Give us where you're from, how long you've been here, how It Works found you, why you even said yes to something like this, and what the business has done for you so far. Start there.
Okay, let's start there. Okay, hi guys. All right, so my name is Tavia. I live in Ohio, and I have been in the business for 6 years, you guys, which sounds crazy, but this business found me, I would say, really unconventional. So I'm a nurse practitioner by trade. And, generationally, I was told, you go to high school, you graduate high school, and you're definitely not done there. You pretty much have double, with going to college and what do I want to do with my life? And I played volleyball in college, and I was, going for physical therapy. And I was like, let's do something different. But then I still ended up in the clinical field. You guys, I loved what I did. I worked trauma for so many years. I got to a point where, Brandon and I met in college. It got to a point where life just started happening, right? And we definitely didn't, we knew we were going to be together, and life just sort of kept happening and happening. And then there's one kid, then there's another kid. And all of a sudden we're in this position where it's like, we both graduated college, we both college, degrees. We made good money. But what we didn't know, and I really wish we would have been prepped for this, was A, how expensive kids are, but B, like living life and not understanding or having great examples growing up to understand what money management was and all the things. So we were really in a place, I was personally in a place of just feeling very overwhelmed. I just had my third son, who is now 6. And I just remember I went through a really, really deep depression, postpartum depression after I had him. And I was just really in a bad place. I was overweight. I was overworked. It got to a point in the clinical field where they were giving us just crazy patient loads. And I'm not sure if is anyone in the clinical field in here? Drop a comment if that's you. And it was really stressful. And working trauma, I was always on call. So it was like, it worked when my kids were younger. And as they started to get bigger, they started to want to do more things, and I was missing it. And I got to this point where I was like, why am I watching T-ball games on FaceTime? Like, there's got to be more to this, right? And I remember vividly holding my, Tristan, he was a newborn at the time, and I had 2 other kids under the age of 6, right? Brandon was working second shift. See, look, okay, that's awesome. And Brandon was working second shift, and I was like, okay, I had a mental breakdown in my kitchen, literally 6 years ago. And mind you, I had no social media, guys. I was literally unplugged. I didn't have Facebook. I didn't have anything, nor did I really want it. But I was just like, I said a prayer. And for me, you guys, I grew up Catholic, and this is part of my story because I truly believe that I knew who God was, right? But I didn't have that connection with him like I do now in my business, in my marriage, in my life. And looking back, I used to pray. You ever just used to pray where it was like, okay, God, like this is my last resort. Like I need your help. That's where I was. And it seemed so foreign to me. And I hated always coming and just bringing complaints, but I was really in a bad place. And I was like, all right, God, if this is the way my life is supposed to go, I'm going to keep going. But if there's another direction for me, like I pray and I just beg you to just like reveal it to me, right? Pick myself back up. 2 days later, I had a second job. So I'm a nurse practitioner, but I had a second job working triage from home, and it was 7 p to 3 a, you guys. How ugly of a shift. And I remember this moment where this nurse told me about this business. She was training me. And I was like, no, I said, absolutely not. And it wasn't that I didn't think it couldn't work. I just didn't think it could work for people like me. I had so much going on. I couldn't visualize myself in that. And lo and behold, you guys, little did I know, 2 days prior, I had my mental breakdown. I prayed to God for a sign. And then all of a sudden I hear Tristan in the next room and he's crying. He's a newborn. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I thought I was doing good by working a second job, trying to bring in extra income. And I'm at home, but I'm glued to a headset. I can't get up and go get him. So Brandon had to get him. But you all know when it's your baby, especially boy moms, it was just like, I wanted to be there. And so it was in that moment that I was like, oh my gosh, how can I pray for something and then say no to the very thing that could possibly change my life? And so that's how this business found me. I had zero, I didn't know what I was getting into. I had to literally start Facebook, you guys. And so I did. I was like ignorance on fire. I was not what you call a runner because I was so busy. I had to like be resourceful and I had to learn on my own because the person who enrolled me literally just joined too. So I was like, it was like the blind leading the blind, right? And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I just went to YouTube and I just started looking at videos, trying to figure out A, how Facebook worked 6 years ago, but B, how I'm even supposed to like push this out there. I wasn't a salesman, but I knew the products work because I had tried a wrap from her. And so I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. Like I literally have to figure this out. And so many people told me I was crazy. So many people were like, aren't you an NP? Like, why are you doing this? They didn't understand. And it was really difficult to navigate doing something new for me that I'd never done before. And also understanding that, yeah, I know that this is the path that I chose to take for 7 years of my life. But now God is calling me to a different way. And I don't know what it looks like. And I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't even know if it's going to work out. But all I know is that I know that I've got to try. So that's kind of how the business found me and what it's done, you guys. Honestly, in 6 months, we went diamond. Don't know how. Like when I look back, I'm like, I signed some distributors, I signed some customers. Like I said, I just kept going. I could work the business when only I could work it. I worked 12-hour shifts. So it was very limited. But so I went diamond in 6 months. And then in a year, I had matched my income. And I was like, hold up. And my husband even asked me, he's like, like all I have to know is what you're doing legal. Because as long as it's legal, let's keep going. Right. And so I was like, well, yeah. So honestly, you guys, it was in that moment that I was like, okay, if I could work this business in small pockets like I only could, and I could result in this, imagine what I could do if I could dedicate a little bit more time. So my mind started to go. And once I get attached to something and I get focused, I'm just like all in, right? That's just the type of person that I am. And so you guys, 2 years into this business, because I have a little control issue, I didn't want to let go of my job that I'd worked so hard for. And I was like, okay, I got to do it. But I was getting to the point where this business was like, it was taking up a lot of time, but I enjoyed doing it. I found another passion that I didn't think I'd ever find. And it was fulfilling in different ways that I'd never been fulfilled in before. And so I made a decision 2 years into this business to do this full time. And I've never looked back, you guys. So here I am. I am obviously we still have the 3 boys, and I've been in 6 years, and it's just been like this whirlwind, right? So that's kind of where I am up to now.
I love it. I'm so like, where have you been? Because I haven't heard much about you, and so I'm excited to hear even more. So what a story! That's so good. So all right, let's talk about after you left your job and what that journey has been like, and the up. Have you ever been an entrepreneur before?
No.
Okay, so let's talk about being a full-time entrepreneur and being sold out, if that makes sense. So deciding that, I'm really going to do this. And, I mean, when you work in a job world, you can kind of regulate it in terms, you know what I mean? Like it's a consistent paycheck, and, they may get on your nerves, but, you're getting paid. And so leaving all of that behind and deciding, what, come hell or high water, I'm going to make my business work for me. And so talk me through that process that you were going through and how you decided that you were going to stick it out regardless, and especially going into 6 years and beyond. So
yeah, so that's a really good question. It's funny because the way that it happened, you guys. So I took Brandon, my husband, to his first conference, and it was obviously at my 2-year mark, and it was the first time that he'd been, second time I had been. And I just remember, you guys, and at the time we weren't VIP, so we weren't down on the floor, but I just remember vividly just hearing these stories and seeing these people on stage and just hearing like, maybe I could do it. And the whole time, he's like, Tavia, he's like, maybe I didn't realize it was this big. I didn't realize these people were as normal as we were, right? Obviously, like when you're in it, and conference can change your life. And so we were walking back the last day of conference, we were walking back to the hotel, and he just looked at me and he was like, I think you have to make a decision to either be 100% in, because here's what it was. I was just like anybody else where I was straddling. I was like, I have a job and I know I can get this consistent paycheck, but I'm also asking God to bless me in ways I've never been blessed before, but I'm not willing to give him everything that I have. And so it was this very like, I'm gonna like pulling but pushing at the same time. And I had to make a decision. And it was really difficult, not because I didn't think I could do it, but it was more the what ifs. Fear started to creep in and I started to get really anxious, like, but what if it all falls apart? What if my team just like leaves me? What if all these things, right? And shoulda, coulda, woulda. Like I could have said that all the time. And there has been team that have come and gone. There has been the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. And I think that no matter if I would have made that decision to go 100% in or not, it would have happened anyway, right? And so it was in that moment that together we made a decision as a married couple to be like, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to do this together. And that was like huge, right? And he had always been a support, but he wasn't like that like in front, like I'm going to help you post, I'm going to help you get customer support like he is. And so that for me was like, okay, let's go. And I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified, but I knew that now was the time to no longer be scared, but instead to start truly stepping into who I was meant to be. I didn't know what that looked like. I prayed about it. I got closer to God. I had to, because at the end of the day, like I was like, okay, God, like you nudged me to do this, so I'm gonna need you to come through, and we're just gonna be besties. And that's kind of really how my spiritual journey sort of started. And I really was just like, I just kept going. I put one foot in front of the other. Again, at this time, 2 years in, I still got hate. I still got flack. I still got people that were saying crazy, hurtful things. But I knew what it had already done for me. So I know that by going in 100%, it wasn't going to do anything worse, right? And instead, I could see fully what this was capable of doing. And it just took off from there, you guys. And so after I made that decision is when we went VIP. It was about 4 months later after conference. And since then, it's just been this journey of just like really evolving and kind of, just continuously unbecoming more of who I thought I was and kind of stepping into who I was meant to be. And that is in all different facets a really difficult journey, because I wasn't just focusing on the entrepreneurial side. Like I was unbecoming my past, or the people that thought, oh well, you're from this area, you don't deserve to have this. It was a lot of other things that you had to kind of work through. And I didn't realize it until I chose and made that decision to go all in. And that's when everything started to hit. And I was like, whoa, like this is real. And I just went with it. I just rolled with it, because at the end of the day, like I wasn't going to be the reason that it wasn't going to work. I wasn't going to allow myself to quit, because my family was depending on me now. And I think it was in that moment where I said 100% yes, I'm going to quit, that it was like game on, because at the end of the day, now this is now your plan A. And so I was working, as obviously as if it depended on God, but I was working like it depended on me, right? And I was praying about it. I was praying on it. I was praying through it. I was going through everything. And I just kept going, putting one foot in front of the other. And it just kept evolving from there. And me not being an entrepreneur, honestly, guys, like I still to this day, I don't even see myself as, I see myself as an entrepreneur, but like what we do, and I'm realizing the more I've been in this business, is I kid you not, I think I educate and give knowledge to people more than I sell a product, which sounds crazy, but it's something I absolutely found that I love to do. And it could be as simple as educating people on like their life, educating people on relationships that are no longer serving them, educating people on what health really looks like, and doing so. I don't know if that's ever been any of you, but I feel like that has truly been something that has been such a really safe place for me in this business, that I found that I just absolutely love. And that's really what kind of just keeps me going every single day. So
That is good. That is so good. That is good. That is good. So my question is transferable. So let's speak in, a nurse practitioner, transferring those skills that you learned as a nurse practitioner and bringing them over here. How are you transferring, or do you even see yourself as somebody who has transferred those skills? And how does it look the same? And then how does it look different? And I love that you talked about unbecoming. So I guess I'll just throw that in there. The process of unbecoming, and that is a lot to unpack because, okay, that's a lot. That's a lot, especially in your profession where it's almost like you have to put on a face because, you got to think it's for somebody who, somebody with degrees, you almost build up this wall of what life is supposed to look like, right? And so the taking off the mask and saying, hey, underneath all this nurse practitioner, I'm a real person with real needs, and I've this is not even who I really am, right? And so through the process of connecting with, let's say, a potential distributor, how has that process helped you with connecting with potential distributors and your team? That was a lot. So let me know if you need me to.
Yeah, no, I think I got it. So that is a lot, but I think it all kind of, yes, it kind of goes together. So what I would say, going back to the first part is me being a nurse practitioner. Do I feel like I have transferred that? Absolutely, 1000%. And I think that's why I gravitated so quickly to understanding or wanting to understand the knowledge side. And then it gravitated into wanting to know personality colors. Then it gravitated into, I just love leadership and what that looks like. So yes, I do. And I think that's why for me, do I think that you have to be clinical to be effective in this business? No, but I do believe that there was a reason why I went through what I went through and I built up the knowledge bank that I have, because I do feel there's so many areas in this business where I've transferred so many things that I've learned from, school into this, even practice. And it could just be as simple as communicating with someone. It could be as simple as like, once you have the doctor come in and they're saying a whole bunch of just medical jargon, just all these big words. And then you stay and you're like, okay, let me just break down what they said. Right. And so it definitely has created, I look back and I realize, gosh, I understand now why I loved the clinical field and understanding how things work and being able to be at that level, because I am better equipped and better able now to be able to communicate that maybe on a simpler level to anybody that I speak to. And for me, wanting to be in the nursing profession, for me, honestly, because I'm mixed. My mom was a single mom. We didn't come from a lot. And quite honestly, for the longest part of my life, which is probably another whole nother topic, I didn't even know all of what I was, like as far as my heritage, my legacy. I didn't know any of that, right? So, me growing up was very difficult because I grew up in a predominantly white area. And it wasn't that it was bad and that I felt like I was lacking, but where I lacked was the confidence in standing in who I was, right? And so when I became to be a nurse practitioner, I'm going to be like, you know what? Come, or hot water. Like, I'm going to show people that I am meant to be here. And I think that's part of why I worked so hard to get those degrees, because I would be sitting in a room full of these white men who had been in the, practicing for years and years and years. And here I am, this 20-some-year-old who could talk rooms around you just because I knew what I was talking about. And so it was almost as if like I finally made it to be able to sit in this space, right? And so for me, it was more than just the degree itself. And I think kind of elevating and transferring into this business, it was really intimidating for me, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I really am not good at this, because I don't even know what this is. And then as I started to get into it and I started to have conversations, I realized, well, this isn't as bad as I thought. Like, I'm literally just talking to people like I did before. And now I get to transfer some knowledge that I wasn't always able to transfer before. And I'm doing it on a level where I feel like they don't see me as that nurse practitioner. So I'm not wearing the white coat and you're not intimidated by me when I walk in. And so now it hits different, right? And so for me, I just love having conversations. Anyone I talk to, I like, hey girl, hey sis, like it's only awkward if you make it awkward. When I have conversations with people, I don't, it's not that I act as if I know them, but I make it super, like, it's fun. This is how I am all the time, 24/7. You call me, you voice message me, I voice message you. Like, this is how I roll. But like, I feel that I have had the ability in this business to really truly step into my weird, awkward, funny self and not be judged by it, which before in my medical profession, you could never do that. Like, you could never step crazy, sideways, none of that. You had to come with your A game every single day. And, it was exhausting. It really was. It was exhausting. I made good money, but I was exhausted. I was exhausted, like you said, having to just put on this front that I'm like, oh, like, I just want to breathe. I just want to be who I am, but I wasn't always allowed to be who I was. And so for me, this business has really allowed me to do that. And so from there, I realized, oh my gosh, like maybe I can do this. Maybe I can be all those things. Maybe I can be who I am, even though I see all these other top leaders who don't look like me. That's cool. I don't want them to look like me because there's only me. And so I'm going to become who I'm meant to become. And I'm going to do it in the way that I want to do it, the way that I feel led to do it. And I know that at some point, it's going to happen. At some point, it's going to explode. And so that's just kind of what I've been doing. And it's, I'm just here. I've been here for 6 years. Yeah, not a lot of people know about me, but you know what? I feel like I don't need a lot of people to know about me. You know what I mean? Like you just move and you do the things and just God will he'll bless your actions.
So good. Yeah, that is so good. But listen, he hides us for a season, but then he's gonna bring you out because people need your story. And so that is so good. That is so good to know and hear. And so let's talk about connecting with potential distributors and branching out, because you were somebody who was like, that business is cute, but it's not for me. And so tell me your favorite way to connect with your potential distributor.
So let me tell you. Okay, so I went triple diamond using Facebook, right? Instagram and I have a love-hate relationship. Like it's like what I still work it. But here's the thing that happened to me. And I really believe in 6 years of my business. And I don't know if anyone has ever been in this season where it's like, um, has anyone ever like they'll say, I've lost my passion. I'm just not passionate about it. I don't believe that I lost my passion. I think my focus was being put in things that no longer were passionate to me. But for me and face value, I think many of us look at that as, well, I've lost my passion for this. Have you? Or have you just been putting your energy and focus into people and things that truly don't bring the fire to you anymore? Right. And for me, that was what it was. And so come September 1st, when they launched this 4-in-1, I was like, hold up. Okay. So in my head, I'd always enrolled, right? Like I'm not afraid of the hard work. I've done it before, but I do believe that I got lost in trying to do all the things for everyone, and then my business slips. Or then I'm focusing on my business, but then the rest of everything else slips, right? And it was like this all or none. And when this released, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe this could be the thing that is almost in a way giving me the approval to start focusing or refocusing on what I need to, right? So once that hit, I was like, I'm going to go for this. Like, I'm going to see what happens. Right. And so lo and behold, I was that person that did TikTok in 2020. Yeah. Like we're doing it. Okay, whatever. Then I stopped. I was like, I ain't got time for that. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. So I stopped. Right. I don't know if anyone else is like that, but that was totally me. And then I was like, okay, well, I gotta plant seeds everywhere. I have to plant seeds everywhere. I got to become a farmer. I have to become a cereal sower. I got to do all the things, because in order for me to get where I'm trying to go, it's like a whole nother level that I can't even picture. See, it's not just one level up. I was trying to go like 10, right, in my head. So I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? I am no longer, and so what I told myself in September, I was like, I'm no longer going to tell myself I'm not good at TikTok. I'm not good at Instagram. I need to look a certain way to be seen different, all the things. I was done doing that. And so you guys, it wasn't even in the month of September, but it really started at the beginning of October, where I was like, I'm going to get back to TikTok. I'm going to get back to Reels. Y'all, like I even tracked it. So when Facebook Reels launched, anyone have Facebook Reels? Okay. So Facebook Reels launched, and all of a sudden I was like, OMG, I'm not missing this, right? So I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to post, but I'm just going to go back to my old things and I'm just going to repost stuff. Well, I did not miss a day. And I kid you not, in about 5 days, I went from 200 followers to over 10,000. Okay. Or well, it was over 7,000 then. Now I'm over 12,000 on Facebook. And then I went from 1,000 followers on TikTok to 30,000. Right. And I'm like, whoa, what's happening? So what I did was I no longer was going to allow myself to believe the lie that I wasn't worthy to do all the things, to be all the things, to plant all the seeds everywhere and see what happened. So I just did it, and I did it anyway. And because I did that, and because I was consistent at doing that, I am now having conversations everywhere. So they're coming from TikTok, they're over on Instagram, they're coming to Facebook, they're DMing me, they're filling out the application, they're texting my phone, right? They're doing all the things. So now what I have created is momentum. And I've created momentum that is favoring me, meaning it is just a funnel and I'm keeping consistent every single day. So I never run out of things to do, right? So I get back to everyone that day. I know I don't get back to everyone in the same day. Like that gives me anxiety. But guess what? When I'm ready to work my business, because I'm going to be obedient of my time, and that's another thing that I told myself I was going to do, then it's just like this. It's like a funnel, right? And I just keep going and going. And so when I'm having conversations with people, you guys, I keep it simple. One of the things I love to do is people know I love voice messaging. I love people hearing my voice. And I also am red. I don't like to beat around the bush. I don't like to go back 10,000 times. And I want to get to know who they are. So a lot of when I talk to somebody, it's less about me, but it's more about them. So it's me asking a lot of questions. Yeah, I share a video with them. And if they're not willing to, here's the thing, if they're not willing to watch a 10 or 14-minute video, then more than likely they won't even be willing to have me help them train, right? They're not going to be wanting to get back to me via text. They're not going to be like, wanting to hit me up, right? Like if they can't do that, right, then unfortunately, I'm not sure that they can necessarily get my time, right, that I want to give to them, because I firmly believe I'm in a season where if it's not a reciprocating relationship with you, and if I'm giving you something of me and I'm not getting that back, unfortunately, sis, I'm in a season where I can say no to you and not feel bad. And nor do I have to explain myself. Whereas before, I'd be like, oh no, I'm going to keep on holding on because, I just feel like, compelled to do it. And I feel like, right. And so I was really in my head about that, but I was like, nope, I'm not going to do it. Right. And so, yeah, and Amber's on here and she's one I learned it from. And it was a hard thing to do. But I gave myself grace with it. And I was like, nope, it has to be reciprocating. If saying yes to them is saying no to me, I have to say no. And I don't have to explain myself. And I'm still working on that. Okay. But so that's kind of what it is. And so when I'm having conversations, I get them on the phone, sure. Or they watch a video and then I get them on the phone, sure. Or we're voice messaging back and forth, sure. I'm doing all the things to get in touch with them on the phone, voice message. I want them to hear my voice. I want to hear their voice. I want them to talk to me, to tell me about them. Because here's the thing, if you can make an emotional connection with someone, then you're more likely to have a longer conversation. When you have that longer conversation, you're more likely to impact them in a different way where they never thought you would. Meaning, wow, she asked about my kids. That's so weird. Like, why would she ask about my kids? Like, maybe she actually cares. Maybe she's not a scammer like my best friend's sister's mother's cousin said she was. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they start to break down their own walls of the disbelief they have in you. And so for me, it was more, I just got to get through to them. And I've got to find the one thing that's hurting them, the one problem that they have. And if they can see that I can be a potential solution for them, then they're more likely to want to open up to me, to want to join my team, to want to converse back and forth. And sometimes it doesn't happen the first conversation. But guess what? They're in my network. They're watching. I see them in my stories, right? They're commenting on posts. They're interacting with me, right? And so for me, that's really what it's been about. And so what's happening now is just an influx of people that are seeing all my content everywhere, and they're getting to see who I am in every different way, not just business. And I think that for me has been huge because it's just less work I have to do. I feel like my face is everywhere, but it's fine. But it's less work I have to do because they're seeing so many different versions of me, and it helps. So
That is good. You could look. That is so good. So reels, okay? Reels.
uh-huh.
And it's so crazy because somebody else just told us that, I think last week, they told us reels, the reels. So tell us your favorite content, or is it just a mix? So are you doing what's trending? I know that's what Carrie told us last week. She was like, if it's trending, I'm doing it. She's like, success leaves clues, and so I'm doing it. Or what's your favorite content?
So that's a good question. So here's the thing. It's no different than posting. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to overcomplicate this because I really could complicate this. But for me, it's just like posting. So if you're posting from your pillars, right? Like who you are, like what you do is not who you are. So I think when we talk pillars, really get down to who it is that you are and what you love and what you're passionate about. Like people, like, here's the thing, like, I can talk all day long about, blood flow of the heart. I'm obsessed with it. I love the body. I'm weird. I'm awkward. I'm funny. At least I think I'm funny. And so I like to joke. I can't dance. I'm mixed and I can't dance, but I'll still dance. But guess what? Everybody can point, right? And so for me, it's been a mixture of things, but the ones that I think have hit the most and have truly made me feel good is talking about my pillars, even outside of the business, right? It's almost like I talk more about all the different awkward, weird stuff and funny reels or TikToks than I do about the business. But when I sprinkle in the business or when I sprinkle in the product ones, they hit different. So for me, I do more content on the other ones, hands down. I post 3 to 5, you guys, every single day. Every single day. Usually I post them at the same time. And why I do that, because I don't have time to go 8 o'clock, then noon, I don't have time for that, right? I need to post them at the same time or else I'm going to forget, right? So I post them all at the same time. Sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes it's school drop off time, sometimes it's at nighttime, but I get 3 to 5 up. Okay. I try to do a business one every single day. Or a product one. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I show myself grace and I move on. But that's really what I do. So I use my pillars and I literally incorporate the same thing into my TikToks. Now, as far as viral, yeah, I like viral sounds, but what I do is I set a timer, usually every night or every other night. I'll go on TikTok. I have to set a timer or else I'll get lost. And I'll literally go through and what I do is I'll go through like my feed on TikTok and I'll send myself on Messenger ones that like resonate with me, like, oh my God, this is hysterical. I'm going to do it. Like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I'm going to do it. Right. And I'll send them to myself on Messenger so that the next day or the next content day that I have, I'm going to record them. And I'll be in the school pickup line and I'll record like 4 like if Sundays are my day to record content, I'll record like 15 and save them to drafts, right? Like I don't overcomplicate it. When I've got downtime, I will try to record one. And I don't like to complicate the ones that I'm doing unless it's super funny and I think it's going to be great. Then I'll take a little more time with stopping, starting. But usually it's just played out the entire thing, right? And that's all I do. And I just have fun with it, you guys. And I just think about all the things in my life that like, you ever just have those moments in your life where you're like, oh my gosh, like this would have been an awesome thing to show people. Oh my gosh, I remember this. And I love reinventing things when I see people do funny things. I just think it's funny and I just have fun doing it. So whatever kind of like sparks my interest as I'm looking through my feed, I'll send it to myself and I'll just record it later.
All right, my son just disconnected. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah.
He just disconnected my headphones. Sorry, it's going crazy over here. Be quiet. Thank you. All right, so let's talk for and a friend, right?
Yes.
So tell us right now, somebody has made, okay, thank you. Somebody has made a decision today and they don't have, hey, you have to be quiet. You see? This is Tavia, okay? Okay. Okay. So somebody has decided right now, Zayden. Okay, hold on 1 second.
Hey, Tavia.
Hey.
Hey, so I'm gonna take over and help Rachel really
Aw.
quickly. So let's talk before and a friend. So how did you feel when it was released? And how, I know you spoke a little bit about how it kind of, gave you the ability to release some pressure from yourself, but how did you feel when it first dropped? And like, what are you doing to maximize and capitalize off of the For and a Friend?
Yeah, so it was like a huge pressure. I really feel like I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous because I'm like, oh, like duplication, I can do duplication, but is it something that we're doing consistently? And I think what we found with when 4-in-1 released is that, you're working against people's personalities too, right? And that's hard, when you have someone come into the business, like, they're never gonna want it as much as you do. And it's difficult trying to push the vision for them, right? Like, or have them create a vision for themselves to want to get up and do it. However, I do think that there has been value in using this to create a system that I had, but it was kind of broken, right? So it was like, okay, how do I take what I've been doing and how do I maximize that? And so when it released, I was like, okay, this is an opportunity. It's really how I looked at it. And so I was like, I gotta, like, let's go, like, head down. I started running, I started messaging, I still was doing all the things that I had done. But I think really it was when October hit that I was like, I'm gonna bust this out in like the first 2 weeks, and get like my last 2 cycles done. And how I was doing it, you guys, was I was just super one-on-one, created a group chat with all of my new girls. It was communication every single day. It was giving them posts. It was understanding that they don't know what they don't know, and almost putting myself back in a position where I was new. I wasn't expecting anything from them. I was simply just helping them. What I was doing, I was giving the same post to them to put up. With stories I was doing, I was giving them the same content to put up. If they weren't comfortable doing a TikTok, we backed it up and we started on stories. And then, hey, they weren't comfortable doing hands-free, then we just did pictures. And then we kind of kept elevating and working with one another. And that's really how I created that duplication. I don't even think there was a specific system. Host to post is definitely something that I started them on, like, all at the same time, because I firmly believe host to post is the one and only duplicatable thing that we can do. TikToks and Reels, they're duplicatable to an extent, because that takes your personality. That's going to take a little bit more. That overcomes a whole bunch of fears, right? That's a whole nother topic. Whereas host to post, a little bit hands off, people can do that in their sleep, right? And so I wanted to give them that quick win and to show them, like, hey, you can do this. You can do this too. And as you're doing host to post, let's go ahead and let's add on all these other things, right? And all of them were at different places and different levels. And I was signing, a nice amount of people. And so it wasn't to the point where it was overwhelming, because we all used the same thing, the same chat. I had one place to communicate. And those people that were ahead, there was a separate conversation. I went back to the beginning where I had all these separate chats, right? I had all these different text messages going on, and I had to just get my hands dirty again and start focusing with them, holding their hand one-on-one. And that's really what created the duplication for me. And as far as maximizing it, I just kind of told myself, like, I'm just not stopping. Like, even if Christmas cash is over, this 4-in-1 is here, right? So it's like, I'm just going to keep going. I firmly believe that this 4-in-1 and the ideology, like behind the scenes of it, is massive. The ability for someone to come in and make what rubies, emeralds, diamonds can make without having to hold the rank is, like, in 6 years, I'm like fired up about it, because I really firmly believe it's like huge. It's huge. And it still may be hard for some people, but at the same time, it's something to continue working towards,
Yeah, I love that. I love how you said getting your hands dirty again, and then that immediate wins. Like, that's one thing for me. When I bring in a new distributor, I want to show them how to win immediately, even if it's just a yes for a sample, a yes their friends and family will be a customer, a yes for a host to post, like or comment on a post they put up, just something to encourage their heart, to make them want to take the next step. So that is so good. It's so good.
Yes.
So, can you share with us your daily actions that help you stay out of your feelings, and really just overcome? Because it's 90% mental what we do. So, how do you stay in a place to just continue to keep going, regardless of whatever you may see, regardless of whatever it may look like, and just stay in that place of clarity and level-headedness?
Yeah, that's a really good question. All my last Zooms are kind of blurring together with things that I've said, but some of the things that have really helped me, recently has just been, couple things. It's really reaching sideline. For those of you that, like, I don't have a direct upline, like Amber's on here. I consider her mine, but no, but like, I've reached sideline, right? And I think one of the best things that we can do is try to join and lock arms with people that are, like, similar minded. One of those things where it is, we're going to go through those feelings. We're going to go through the days where we don't feel like showing up, where we're not motivated. And obviously you've heard this before, like, if you wait until you're motivated, you're never going to want to do it. And, when I've been in 6 years, there's many days where I just want to throw this phone. I'm like, I swear, if I get another message, I'm just going to lose it, or like, I'll go in my inbox and I just clean it out, and then I got like 6 new messages, right? But however, on the day, what I'm doing more now is I'm honoring the days where I feel like I'm kind of at capacity, right? Where it's like, yeah, my Sabbath is not here, but I'm still like, I don't know that if the next message I send is not going to be genuine, right? It's not going to hit the way that I want it to hit. I need to unplug for a second, because I really need to protect that. And for the longest time, I would just work through that. And I think what happened was I hardened myself to know or to be able to feel what I was feeling. And I disconnected with feelings in business. So I was like this like red. I mean, I'm red anyway, and I have the ability to work through things, but reds do feel. And I think that sometimes we feel so much that it can be very overwhelming. And so for me, it's like I really honor myself when I feel like, hey, you need to take even a couple hours and just step away, put your phone down. There's no it works emergency that has ever happened, and it's going to be fine. And I've just been doing that a lot more and just listening to what it is that I need. But then when I'm plugged in, I'm super plugged in. And for the longest time in my business, I really feel like um, we can say we've been obedient of our time, but when we look at it, and I can look at 60 minutes that pass, and you look and you're like, I got like 2 things done. Like I know darn well, like I should have gotten a lot more. And I don't know what takes my time, but I swear to you, just something happened and I got tricked. I don't know. But what I do know is that I really needed to start focusing a lot more, because even though I do this full time, I don't want to do this 8 hours a day. Like I don't feel like I have to. So I needed to get super serious and strict with sitting down, honoring the time that I have, and saying, what can I get done in this hour? And if it can't get done in this hour, guess what? It's going to wait till the next hour. And then if it can't get done in that next hour, guess what? It's going to wait till that third hour, right? Or however I choose to work it, because every day kind of looks different. But what I've done too that's helped is I prep my day the night before. So like tonight before I go to bed, I know what posts I'm going to put up. I know the stories that I'm going to do. Sometimes I'll even post it late at night. I know the messages that I want to send or people that I need to follow up with. I prep everything the night before. I've gotten into a habit of doing that. Even when I started this business, I kind of got out of it. And now I'm back in it, because I know for me, if I can set up my day, then it's less that I have to do the same day, and it keeps my anxiety a little bit lower. So that's really been beneficial for me.
Yes, so good. It's the grace and then the preparedness. It's so funny that you said, you had to honor those days or those times when you feel like you need to walk away or step away. Rachel has had these conversations with me a couple of times. She's like, girl, get up. You've been sitting in that same spot all day. I bet you ain't moved. Get up and go do something and then come back. So yes, that is so good. That is so good. You're speaking my whole language over here. So I do have a question about the 149 kits. So I know you said you talked to a lot of people, and I wanted to ask, are you entertaining conversations with people who are saying they don't have the money? Are you helping them pre-sale? Are you like giving them options to just, or ways that they can find the money, like selling their things or something? Or are you even entertaining those conversations because you have so many people that you're talking to? Kind of walk me through that.
Yeah, I do. I do entertain, because like, yes, I have people that, they watch my video and they're like, okay, but I don't have the money. I get on a phone conversation. I feel like if I can get you on a phone conversation and you and I can chat for 10 minutes, I'm usually a pretty good judge of character. And I can tell usually in the first 10 minutes, depending on what questions I ask you, if this is truly something you want to do. And if I feel like you would give, some sort of time or commitment to it, right? And if I do feel that, yeah, I definitely don't want you to miss that because of that, because I do believe that, there are other options to join. There are pre-selling. Anybody can do that. And so I absolutely do entertain that, from pre-selling to, I know only a couple of mine have done the Zip app. And other than that, they paid the full price. And I'm huge. I love the price of the 149 and what you get for it. I absolutely love it. I mean, I was just always this person that I could usually enroll a distributor at any price point. I think it really comes down to the belief that you have when you go into a conversation, right? And if you wouldn't spend it, why would you think they would spend it? Like, I mean, and to this day, I still struggle when people tell me that, well, I know it is expensive. Okay, so if you're saying this to me and I'm getting a vibe that you wouldn't spend it, I'm pretty sure your person potential who doesn't have that self-discipline or that understanding and this vision to know what this business could do for them can probably feel it. And so it's a very interesting thing, but I think that, yeah, I definitely do help people that may not have it. and I give them a solution and I give them the option. And if they choose not to try that or to go down that road, then no, absolutely, it's done. I move on.
So good. It's all about your belief and being able to transfer that and show the value of that potential and spending that 150 and then believing that it is worth it yourself. I love signing people for the 99 before it went up to 149. Yeah. And I'm okay with signing them for 149 because knowing what I know now, I would spend 5 stacks to start this business. Yeah. So 149 is okay. I do have a couple questions like what is the conversation like on the phone? So like, how are you filling them out? Is there a specific set of questions or is it kind of just play it by ear? Like, how are you actually going through the process of seeing if they're really serious?
Yeah. So usually, I just thank them. I always, every time I get on the phone with someone, I always thank them for their time because it isn't awkward. Think about it. Like it's a total stranger that you're getting on the phone with. Like I totally get it. Right. So I do thank them for their time, but I get right into the questions. I'm like, okay, like I can sit here all day and tell you about me, but first I want to get to know you. Like, tell me about you. Like, what interests you in doing this? What does your life look like? So a lot of times what they'll do is they'll tell me about, their everyday. Do they work? Do you have kids? What I'm trying to figure out is what does their current situation look like? Where are their pain points coming from? Because everyone has one. You just got to find it. And so a lot of times the dialogue that I have back and forth is just kind of gearing around what their everyday looks like. Where are their struggles? Are you, like struggling paycheck to paycheck? What does that look like? Are you a single mom? Or are you not a single mom? Where are you struggling? Is it family you're struggling with? Is it at work you're struggling? Like, so I really kind of get into it, and it may seem like it's really intense and some may think like, oh my gosh, like I can, I ask it. Like no one's ever really said, no, I don't want to speak to you about that. Like I've never had that. I just get into it. It's only awkward if you make it awkward. And so, and I just kind of I listen more than I speak. And for some, I think maybe that's hard, but I play off what they say. Right. So I'm like, oh my gosh, sis, like you did that. That's so amazing. Like I love complimenting them and giving them positive feedback too, especially for the times where they feel like, they're not proud of where they are. A lot of times you'll talk to people, they're not proud of where they stand, where their feet are planted. They don't want to be there any longer, or they would not be reaching out to you, or they wouldn't be interested. And so you've got to understand the vulnerability that it takes to have a conversation with someone in that space because you were there, right? And maybe some of you are still there. And so I do honor that. And I let them know like, oh my gosh, like if there's any time where I can plug in and tell them, sis, like this is absolutely amazing. Like I feel like I can even learn so much from you. Am I genuine in what I say? Absolutely. Like I've never had a conversation where I'm just lying to them, right? But I ask about them. I want to know about their everyday. So, and then the conversation just kind of flows from there. I don't really have a script. I really just go based off feel, but I do listen more than I speak.
That's really good. Find the pain points and then be the solution.
Yeah.
Period. Find the pain point and then be the solution. So that's good. So for a new distributor, somebody that is brand new, just starting out, what's one tip that you would give them or one thing that you would think that they really should know?
Ooh, one thing. Gosh, there's definitely a lot of things, but the one thing that I think looking back when I was new in this business, and I don't even think that it was something that someone could have prepared me for, but I think it's very, everyone experiences differently, right? And so I think for me, what I would have said or say now is when you take on this journey, okay, to become something you've never imagined you could be, and when you take steps to change who you were, the amount of people that will tell you about you will be astronomical. And it will get to a point where you start to question if the path you're going down is really the path for you. And I think that we say that to them, but I think it's taken so lightly. And I really wish that I would have like stayed more in that and had someone really explain that more to me, and not to scare me, but to really kind of like, I want you to understand what you're saying yes to this business, but you have no idea that this business is going to change every single part of who you are. And the woman that I am today, 6 years in, is definitely nowhere close to the woman that I was. And mind you, 6 years ago, I thought I was it. I thought I had everything that I needed. Yeah, I was struggling. And yeah, like, I mean, I was unhappy, but I thought I did everything I was supposed to do. Like I checked every single box. You couldn't tell me I didn't, right? And so for me, being where I am 6 years, right, removed from that, I look back and I'm like, dang, like, sis, you were absolutely broken in so many different ways that I didn't know, because I didn't know that it was considered broken. And I think that, you know, for me, we break down so often, especially in the beginning, like you're breaking down, unbecoming, it's my word. It's like, I'm going to start a podcast one day, but you unbecome in so many different areas that you don't expect to. And you think that all the pieces that are just like falling, like that have just fallen to the ground, right? From all the no's you get, from all the hate you get from your family, from the people that tell you shouldn't do what you're doing, from the people that try to dim your light. Like I had it happen to one of my new girls today, and someone on her post, you know, said something, and she said, you know, like, oh my gosh, girls, that it works, don't do that. Like, don't do that. And so for me, it's like, and she's this woman, mind you, I said, do you know her? No, I don't even know her. Like we went to like elementary school. And I'm thinking, and I have to do a story on it, because here's how I firmly believe. What I don't understand, it is 2021 and you've got infants over on YouTube making millions. Yet we are still thinking this is a pyramid scheme. I said in my stories, I said, come with something different, because that you have hit that all the way. Nobody's talking about a pyramid scheme anymore. You got to come with something different now, right? And so for me, it's like, dang, like if I could just go back and tell myself 6 years ago, there's going to be so many parts of you that fall to the ground, and you're going to ask yourself, oh my gosh, I got to pick them all back up. Like I'm falling apart. And it was like, no, you're breaking through. Like you're really breaking through, and it's very uncomfortable. And it is very foreign, and it is something that only you can experience for yourself. But I firmly believe in the areas that I was breaking down and thinking then, oh my gosh, I got to pick up all these pieces. Like how, no wonder why people quit, because what they don't realize is they think it's the business that's causing the breakdown of all the things that should have been broken down a long time before. Does that make sense? I don't even know if I'm saying it right. But for me, that was huge, right? And so I got to this point where I was like, no, like you're not breaking down, you're breaking through. And if you could just see what I see 6 years removed, I'm trying to tell you something that you can't see. And like, I think that's what God just tries to tell us all the time. Like, I'm trying to show you something that I know you don't quite trust yet, but I need you to keep going. And I think that like, I don't know what kept me going 6 years. I really don't, because I think there's many of us on here that could say there's so many times where I wanted to walk away, not to go to something different, but just to walk away in general. But I'm so glad I stayed, because I really believe that I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't experience all the things that I did. So I don't even know if I answered it, but that's what I would say.
Girl, yes, we friends, okay?
We're besties.
I had to go through that same process. All right. I had to be okay with going through that. Listen, I'm telling you, speaking my whole life over here. Okay, so one last question.
Yes.
For somebody who's been here for a while, because we do have a lot of veterans here too, a lot of people who have went places, you know, gotten stagnant, maybe went again, or just, you know, they're loyal, but they're trying to hit that breakthrough. What would you say to that person?
You know, man, because I definitely have that, you know, on my team too. You know, it's here's what I would say. Keep going, yes, but even deeper than that, what I would say is, I think so often when you are so stagnant, or you feel like you're so stagnant in where you are, it's easy to start to look sideline, or look at all these other people that seem to be running past you. How am I doing all the things and I'm stuck, and sis is sprinting? How and she's not even doing half of what I'm doing. That was a word. That was actually, you know, another word that I heard it at service one Sunday. And I was like, oh, I need this. And what he said was, if you could just stay in your lane, sis, just stay in your lane. Just stay in that happy old lane, okay? And understand that the blessings that God has for you are only for you, and they're not going to be given to somebody else. But I think it's so easy when you're in a season and negativity is swirling around you. Doubt starts to creep in. You start to question, you know, if you're meant to be here, what your purpose is. What are you doing? Am I really impactful in this business? Am I really going to be something at any time? Anytime, Jesus, anytime. And so I think that when we look sideline, it's easy to compare yourself, and it's easy to say, oh my gosh, like, well, then I need to switch up what I'm doing. Because if it's working for her, I need to go over here and I need to be more like her. And that's why I didn't follow people. Come September 1st, when that 4-in-1 launched, I said, you know what? The people that are no longer serving me, if I am emulating more than I'm being inspired by you, sis, I got to unfollow you. Okay. Unfollow real fast. Okay. No hard feelings. But at the end of the day, I was trying to be who I am. And half the time, I think we don't even really know who we are because we never give ourselves the opportunity to just be it. And I think we're so focused and consumed that we have to be like somebody else because they have what you want. And it's so easy to get, in a way, let's be real, jealous of what somebody else has. Like you look at Rachel, oh my gosh, she's so successful. Look at the beautiful family and she's got da da da. And what I always say is, listen, that's cool. Yeah, you can look at her and you can want everything she has. But I'm gonna ask you a serious question. Have you done everything that she has done to get where she is? And if you haven't, then you can shoulda, coulda, woulda, wish all day long, but it ain't yours then, right? And I say that with massive love, but it's the truth. And I think so often we look at these news feeds and we say, oh, like, look at these beautiful pictures and their life is so whatever, right? But that's a news feed, right? Like you see me 6 years into my business now being on a Zoom getting to speak to you. But the last up to this point, I've cried, I've yelled, I've screamed, I've cried, I've failed, I've wanted to quit, I've failed again, I've cried, I've yelled, I've done all the things. And I've done it hundreds and hundreds of times, right? You don't see that. You don't see that. You're not with me in the trenches of my journey every single day. So when you can learn to appreciate and love the journey that you're on and you trust wholeheartedly the process that God is trying to do through you, then I think you will be more open to applauding this sister that's sprinting past you than being like, dang, why she get it and I don't get it, right? Like it's so easy for us to want to go to that place, but I encourage you to do more self-reflection if that's the first thing you think about when you see other people winning and you're not winning. Because it's easy when you've been stagnant for so long. But keep going. Because I firmly believe that your harvest is coming, but you do have to plant and you got to keep planting, right? Like farmers aren't just like, oh, I'm gonna put a seed in the ground and I hope a whole slew of corn just grows. Like they're not out there thinking that, right? I be seeing farmers out. I live out wherever, and like across the street, they've been out at like 2 a.m. trying to plow this field. Are y'all up at 2 a.m. sending host to post? Are y'all doing the things, right? We can hope and want and do all that, but I tell you, God blesses action. He blesses action. When you go to bed at night, you ask him to bless the work that you did, and you just let him work. You let him do him the way he's gonna do it. Stop putting a period where he intended to put a comma. That's another one. I love that. And just get to it. And I promise you, like your action breeds passion, right? It's going to breed that motivation to want to get up and go at it every single day. And the more you keep putting one foot in front of the other and you stay in your lane and you trust that your lane is where you're supposed to be, then I think you'll have a better understanding and a better humility about yourself to then receive what he's been trying to give you, if that makes sense.
Yes, girl, makes all the sense. Stay in your lane and don't try to have somebody's championship without they practice. Okay. So good. So good. So I just want to thank you for allowing us to have an hour of your time. We really, really appreciate it. So many nuggets shared. I know I got so much from it. I am so excited to be able to meet you and be in your space and really hear from you. Like Rachel said, you've been here for 6 years, and I'm so glad that your season has come. And we are able to sit in the room with you. So I'm just going to ask that you pray us out. Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. Thank you for the comments. Okay. All right. Father God, thank you so much for having all of these men and women join tonight to just hear what you want to speak through me and all the other people on here. And I know that so many people are going through a season, and we ask that you just pray over them and just stay with them in their journey as they walk foot in front of the next foot, and just staying in their lane, and just honor the work that they're doing, and bless the work that they're putting their hands to, and help to just like give them the support and the understanding to know that their season is coming, to just be patient. And Lord, I ask that you just continue to keep them close to the fire, and that you continue having them show up in ways that they know that they need, and just keep them fulfilled and keep them overflowing so they can go out into this world and just be so impactful to so many people. And Lord, I pray that you just give this message tonight to all the ears that need to hear it, and continue spreading your love and patience and healing powers on all of these men and women here tonight. And I just pray that that these men and women understand and know how worthy they are to step into their journey and unbecome who they thought they were and step into who they were meant to be, Lord. And in your name, we pray. Amen.
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 Amen. Thank you, girl.
So much.
And thank you for Brittany. Shout out to you for jumping in, holding it down. We 10 days into this thing, and Lord,
I love it.
Anyway, thank you, Tavia.
Tavia.
Oh, Tavia,
okay.
I'm gonna get it together. By the time
We'll get it. Don't
I
worry.
see you in person, I'm be like, Tavia,
Right.
yes, girl. Thank you. We appreciate your time so much. So many gems. Thank you, Brittany.
You're so welcome.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks,
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.